Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Dragonfly Tales. This is Donna, and I'm here today to chat you through what is going on in Pisces in this month of March and what on earth that means for all of us. So it's important to note that I work with the Vedic astrology system, not the Western astrology. So I am talking about the sidereal zodiac, not the tropical. And if you want to know what that's about or any of those words are confusing for you, please feel free to get in touch. I will make sure all my details are popped below. And I obviously do one-on-one readings, so we can always chat further there. Right, so having said that, if this video does interest you, I will be doing quite a few more just on snippets of teachings and also updates on what is happening in the sky. Please feel free to subscribe below. And I also have a WhatsApp group where I update regularly and will be much more than here. It is free and anonymous, and off you go. So I'll leave the link in the bio below as well, and feel free to join if you would like to be updated or just see what's happening on that end. So this month of March is incredibly special to watch in the sky. All this action is going down in Pisces, right? Pisces itself is a very, very interesting sign to be analyzing. It is the last of the zodiac signs. So it's number 12. The zodiac starts in Aries, ends in Pisces, and it is effectively the bridge where we leave this world, or the energy transitions from the manifested into the unmanifested world, is one of the understandings of this beautiful energy of Pisces. So when there's a lot of action coming through there's a fundamental message, I believe, that is there for all of us, and this is what I'm really being drawn to highlight today. So just to highlight what it is that's going on there, on the 2nd of March, we had Venus going retrograde in Pisces. The night of the 13th to the 14th of March, we had an eclipse, which was working with the axis between Pisces and Virgo, because the North and South Node are sitting there, or Rahu and Ketu. Then we had on the 15th of March, we have Mercury going retrograde. Where I'm talking to you now, it is the 18th of March, so this is where we're sitting. But we have two more pivotal events coming up, which is the 28th of March, there is another eclipse, and this eclipse is happening in Pisces. And then on the 29th of March, for the first time in just under 30 years, Saturn will be entering Pisces again. Now, I want to chat you through what that means, and these planets here, how they chat to one another, how they relate to our lives, and what is so beautifully pivotal about the energy between the two. There can often be a lot of fear around a lot of things happening in the sky when people look into it, and honestly, there is the most incredibly supported energy here, but we are being asked to look from a broader perspective and not into and feeding into the chaos that is currently happening in the world. Now, Pisces itself, as I mentioned, is the bridge between this world and the next. So it naturally has quite a spiritual inclination to it. You'll know anybody with very strong placements in Pisces, so with the moon in Pisces or an ascendant in Pisces, are naturally drawn to a spiritual path of some sorts, right? It's not a sign that has to look like an organized religion, although it can do. There's always possibilities about how this manifests for each of us, but there is an inclination to an understanding or a drawing to the life that is beyond what I can see and feel with my senses, with the five senses. So there is this beautiful bridge. It is also where we all find our imagination. It is where we manifest in the energetic before it becomes tangible. It's where we dream. It's where we tap into the collective understanding of what is going on in this world. It's where we ask questions about, why are we here? What are we doing? Let's revel in the understanding of a picture that is much bigger than us. If we're looking at the elements of Pisces, you're looking at a beautiful water sign, and energetically it's a mutable sign. Now what this means is that Pisces is literally the flowing waters. So before we even look at the planets and what is going on there, we need to tap into that lesson, that when that much energy is sitting in a space that is calling us towards the mutable waters, we are being asked to go with the flow. There is a huge energetic confirmation that keeps coming through when I'm working with people in their worlds, to say that we might not know where all of this is headed, both in your personal world as well as in the collective at the moment, and to just allow ourselves to let go and go with the flow, because each zodiac sign will hold an energy that it's asking us to. It almost gives us a little bit of guidance, going, hey, listen, this is how you're going to handle this best. And all of them will hold a different core space and almost approach with how to work with these energies. And Pisces is definitely go with the flow, let go, allow yourself to flow with the waters, whether they are a stream for you or a rapid for you or a whirlwind. It's like that feeling, and how I'm seeing it now is that, you know, if you live near the ocean, particularly ocean that has cross currents, the first thing that you are taught if you're swimming in these seas is that if you are caught in a cross current, don't fight it, allow it to pull you out to sea, because it will turn around and pull you back and take you back to sea, to land. But if you're fighting it, then this energy can be really detrimental. And a lot of this is being asked of us. We're being asked to go with the flow. So that's kind of an insight into how we're being asked to cope as a whole. Right, now, what I'm finding so interesting is if we are looking at the placements of what is going on, right, with all these planets, in the astrology system that we work with, from Mercury through to Mars, you're looking at what we call the personal planets. Okay, now 2 of these personal planets are involved in this month of March. You've got both Venus and Mercury there. They are both retrograde. Retrograde planets call us to the internal version of what they are functioning in our life, right? So it's often a time of introversion, inner perspective, revisiting things, processing, downloading what we need to for our own lives. Often things will come up that we haven't looked at in a while and we thought were gone or processed, and they'll be asked to be re-looked at. This is very much a retrograde energy. So you've got 2 of these personal planets that are sitting in Pisces going, all right, we're going to journey inside and we're going to go with the waters of life, and you're going to let go and go with the flow and see where we land up. Yeah? And you've got to have an element of trust and faith as you're navigating these waters, because that's literally that's what it's calling for, and it knows exactly where it's directing you. It's just that to allow yourself to flow makes it a lot easier. Right, now in the system we've got, as I said, these 3. You're looking at Mercury, Venus, and Mars. You're looking at your personal planets. Jupiter and Saturn are known as the social planets. Now, it's super important in the Vedic astrology system. We do not look beyond Saturn into the outer planets traditionally, so I will not talk beyond that, but Jupiter and Saturn together are the social planets. Now, why this is so interesting, right, is that Saturn is the only player out of the 2 of these, and he's entering Pisces at the end of this conversation in March. Now, if we're looking at the construct of Saturn being the outer rim, okay, so if we imagine that all the planets are representing different areas in your life, different things you navigate within your personal life, inner world, outer world, all of it. We're looking at all these planets, right? Saturn is as far as it goes. He is almost the boundary holder for your personal life in the way we analyze our charts. He's known as the headmaster of the sky. He has a huge divine father masculine energy around him, right? Now, if you are looking at an energy of something that has been asked to hold the collective boundary fence of your world, that's not somebody who is open to a lot of negotiation. And this is often how people will interpret Saturn's energy. They think it's very restrictive and hard and challenging, and yes, he doesn't know how to sit and have a gentle conversation with us in our lives. He's going to tell you to go to your room if you need to. That's the proverbial father archetypal energy. But if he's going to hold the external barrier of our world, that's pretty important, right? Now, what is fascinating is he's a big player, and he's coming into Pisces, but he's traveling through from Aquarius into Pisces, right? Aquarius is his home. He has a lot of strength there. Pisces is not his home. It is Jupiter's home, which is super interesting because Jupiter is the other social planet. So there's a conversation here going on with the greater picture of humanity beyond just our personal lives, although it reverberates straight into your personal life. Okay, so you've got Saturn holding space for us within Pisces. Then you've got the two personal planets, your Mercury and Venus, that are both involved in this conversation, and both of them are retrograde. Now, just starting that, it tells me everything that's going on at the moment is less personal than we would like to know, but extremely personal. It's extremely personal, as in we are being called to do the inner work. Yes, but the point is for the collective, and it is for society as a whole, because this is what Saturn's coming in to hold for all of us. Because his strength drops when he comes into Pisces itself, it shows us that it's not the same humanitarian, that's the wrong word, holding of humanity's space as he has impact with when he is sitting in Capricorn or Aquarius. So it's not necessarily about laying down the law in the structure of hierarchy. It is about holding space for humanity, right, within the Pisces energy, which is mutable and it is beyond the physical. So you're sitting on holding space in very spiritual energy, if I can put it that way. You can give spiritual whatever name you wish, right? Where the way I describe things here and in my work, it is you put the name in that works for you, and we're talking about the same energy, right? So it is about this holding the energy of the journey of humanity, the energy behind it, behind our consciousness, behind human evolution, right? More than it is holding space for the details of what's happening in this world. Now, sometimes when we need to be dealing with what is happening in this world, right, there seems to be more chaos than answers, because it is often the chaos that kicks everything out for us to be looking at what we need to. So that is super, super important. Now, why I'm mentioning that is because when I look into this energy and I look at a force like Saturn holding space for all of us in the collective, in this beautiful flowing waters of Pisces, and I'm looking at Mercury and Venus, two very personal planets in your life, both retrograde, both flowing in the internal rivers of your world, cleaning out what they need to, asking you to deal with what you need to, looking yourself in the eye and going, what is it that makes me feel beautiful, Venus energy? And what is it that I need to communicate, that, Mercury energy? And how do we then bring that at the end of the retrograde periods out into the world? That's a pretty beautiful and safe space, right? So when you're looking at the news and you're looking at what is often shocking things in people's lives at the moment, because we're also in the middle of an eclipse season, and eclipses bring often shocking things to the fore. Why? Not to get you down, not to turn your life upside down, but because the power of transformation in eclipses is huge. And maybe I need to do another, I will be doing another video on that. I will get one out in the next couple of weeks. But the power of transformation in eclipses energies is huge, right? But sometimes when we have a lot to transform, it flips us over, and it can, to start, look like something that is really not what we want to face, and we get to navigate that. But to understand that this energy is holding you in it is pretty beautiful, and it's important to note that, because it almost allows us to take a step back out of the details of the humanness of what we experience day to day and go, well, if there's a bigger picture, there's a bigger perspective, and that this is all going to kind of work out for the greater good, which includes me. Hey, sometimes we think when things are for the greater good or for the collective of humanity, it's not for me, but you are part of that humanity. And in fact, if the beautiful piece that is you wasn't there, humanity wouldn't be whole, right? That's pretty important. You're pretty important in that. So anything that's good for the greater humanity is not only going to be good for you, but it's also going to ultimately be good for those around you. Now, I'm not for 1 second saying that everybody's life should be smelling like roses at the moment. That would be unrealistic. But I am saying that there is certain peace in knowing that there is a bigger picture. And when we're looking at this in the sky and you're looking at Saturn holding fort, but his energy being diluted, there's huge grace in that. Now, on top of it, the North and South Node are involved in this energy. I haven't drawn them in here because it was just important to show you the personal versus the social planets. But the North and South Node, or in Vedic system, are called Rahu and Ketu. They are hugely pivotal points in our life, but deeply spiritual points. And I'll make another video sometime explaining my journey with them and how they've been interpreted through the work I do, because it's mind-blowing. But they have a deeply, deeply spiritual, soul-calling essence about them. And they've been journeying through this Virgo and Pisces axis for the last 18 months. So there's stuff they've been working on since October the 30th, 2023. And they will carry on working on it until the 18th of May this year, when they transit signs. And they've been bringing a lot of broader perspective, bigger picture, higher calling energy into the areas that they're traveling. And particularly because we're focusing on Pisces today, that North Node sitting in Pisces, or Rahu sitting in Pisces, because it is a big deal, and he really does some incredibly beautiful things in following your soul's calling, if I can put it that way, as opposed to our just striving for manifestation in the human, although they talk together. So his strength there is huge. He's been sitting in this area in Pisces in these beautiful flowing waters for 1.5 years, and he's going to be chatting to Saturn, who is holding this beautiful boundary space for the collective, and they'll have this conversation between the end of March and the middle of May, and then they will swap places and start assisting each other in where both of them were building, which is really beautiful. We'll have another conversation about that. So the greatest advice that kind of comes through over this time is, number one, don't let yourself buy into fear. There's a bigger picture. You may not be able to see it right now, but there's some little voice inside of you that's going to tell you it's going to be okay. And we're going through rapids at the moment, or we're going through calms at the moment, not knowing what's ahead, and there is a bigger perspective. And the flowing waters, honestly, if you lie back and allow the current to take you, it will take you where it needs to. Now, that doesn't mean don't do anything, right? When you feel inspired to act on things over this time, and you feel inspired from here, not from here, that comes from the flowing waters. Then get up and go for gold and do what it is that you need to do, because this is often a hugely revolutionary time for people during eclipse seasons. But don't allow yourself to buy into fear. There are the most magical things happening. I'm seeing in people's lives, left, right, and center, things that they never thought were possible are suddenly on their doorstep, and they're going, I don't know what to do with all of that beauty, which is amazing. It really is amazing. But yeah, it's one step at a time. So allow yourself that space. Right. If you are wanting to know more about your own personal chart and where Pisces taps in for you, please feel free to get in touch. And as mentioned, if you would like more regular updates on what is happening in the sky, I'm going to be using this channel here on podcast and YouTube just to have the broader chats. But if you would like more concise info of just this is what's happening on this date and updates that flow to you via WhatsApp, please feel free to join the group. But until next time, take care, and thank you for your time and listening. Bye-bye.